Another thing I want to point out to anybody here who's, willing to take the time to listen, we can listen to anybody we want. It's the internet. Anybody can watch whatever they want. If you take the time to listen to what people have to say, a lot of times you learn from other people's opinions. Something I've learned over the years. You learn from other people. You gotta, the more you listen to other people's advice, listen to other people's opinions, they're not always correct. You gotta discern which is right, which is wrong, what do you agree with, what don't you agree with. The whole 9 yards. But one thing I just want to put out there is that a lot of things you hear on the television are not true. Alright, I know I've put things up in the past when I was all stoned out, things about television and the government and everything. A lot of times I've gone overboard with that kind of stuff, but deep down I had like a positive agenda. Make a long story short, don't listen to anything I have to say when it comes to the government. I want you to do your own research on that, okay? So that way you can discern for your own. For your own, you know what I mean. One thing I want to put out there right now is there's a lot of psychological operations going on right now. They're called PSYOPs. Obviously the Boston Marathon. Everybody knows that guy who supposedly set off the bomb. Everybody knows that he wasn't, I don't even think he was real. He might have been a real person hired by the CIA. I don't know. I wasn't there. But one thing I do know is that was a psychological operation to put Boston under martial law. And, you didn't hear that. They wanted to put the entire city under martial law so they could see how people would react and they can train their officers at the same time. Now, I don't know if you heard about what just happened in New York. Just a little while ago now, like a couple weeks ago or something like that. Apparently these two dudes escaped from a prison. And instead of people just going out and looking for them like they've done for the last couple hundred years, like cops keeping their eye out for the people escaping, they decided to send out an entire task force, like a military task force. They decided to search people's houses and put up checkpoints and all this kind of stuff, all for these two people that supposedly escaped from a jail. Now, I don't know what you think about this, but I have my own opinions. My first two opinions is that those people probably never even existed. I'm going to tell you why I believe that. One reason is because I don't normally watch TV. I just happened to see a clip from CNN, and the woman said she was live on the scene. But I know that she was not live on the scene because there was trees blowing in the background. She's standing there with a microphone in her hand going, bah, 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 bah. There's trees blowing behind her, but her hair is not blowing. But yet you can see the trees blowing in the background. You can see people behind her. There's a state trooper behind her with a hat blowing in the wind, yet she's standing there and her hair's not blowing. That right there told me, oh, she's not live on the scene. See how they lie? Like how they can convince so many people that they're... Just an example, like she's saying she's live on the scene, but she's not really there. She's not really probably even in New York. She's in a studio in front of a screen. They could have recorded those cars and those cops 5 days ago, and they just play that clip over the screen, and she stands in front of the screen with a microphone, and people think it's real. If they really wanted to be slick, they should have turned a fan on or something in the studio and made her hair blow. At least it would look real, you know what I mean? Like if it was windy out right now, you'd know because my hair is going to be blowing in the wind. I can't sit here with the wind blowing and my hair not blow. Yet a lot of people would fall for that. A lot of people fall for their bullcrap. But that's an example of a psychological operation. 90% of people would think she's really on the scene. But people that pay attention to the smallest details would pick up on that just like I did. You know, I'm one of those dudes, like, I listen to what everybody has to say. But at the same time, you can smell bullshit. You know what I mean? You can tell when somebody's bullshitting. Everybody can. It's just a matter of paying attention. You know, I'm no better than anybody. I'm no smarter than anybody or anything like that. But from the second I heard about that story, I had a feeling right away that there was something fishy going on there. And sure enough, they put the entire area, like, not under martial law, but it's like they're training for martial law. They're training their officers, and at the same time, they're conditioning people to get used to this police state. They're making people used to seeing all these cops on the street and having to go through checkpoints. And then at the same time, you see television shows on the television. Obviously, these shows glorify the cops and glorify the government. They say, yeah, we need to set up a checkpoint to find any illegal drugs, any illegal weapons, you know, just to keep the public safe during these holidays. You know, like they show that on the TV, and people are sitting there watching these shows, and it's like, you know, the shows, they glorify the government, they glorify the cops and all that. So, you know, by watching the show, in a sense, it's like you're on their side just by watching the show. I don't watch TV, but every now and then I happen to see these things on the side, you know, if I'm over somebody's house or whatever. Just pay attention. And just pay attention to everything right now, because I don't know what's going to happen. I know I've predicted things in the past. Some of them have happened, some of them haven't happened. I can't predict the future. I'm no better than anybody else in this world. All I'm saying to anybody out there who's willing to listen is to just pay attention, all right? Because right now, everybody can agree that things are spiritual. All right? There's a lot of spiritual things happening in my life. I'm sure it's happening in your life as well. You know, just don't be afraid. Don't be psychotic like me. Sometimes I get crazy when I get high. Don't get high either. Yeah, just be cautious. Be cautious. Like, when you're walking down the street, you know, don't be paranoid. I get paranoid a lot of times, but always watch. Always watch, and in a sense, pretend that you're in charge. Pretend that you're in charge of protecting the society. Because I know it sounds wild, but that's what I do. Because, you know, just like everybody's a soldier of something. I myself, I'm a soldier in God's army. So it's my job to watch. I'm like the watchman on the wall. I watch things. I pay attention to things. You know, I don't say much. You know, when I'm with my friends and stuff, obviously we talk, we conversate, we joke around and stuff like that. But when I'm out in public, I don't say anything. I don't say anything to anybody. But if I do happen to strike conversation with people, you know, I'm just try and be open as I can. Just be normal. But if I'm walking down the street or something, you know, I don't say nothing to nobody. I try not to raise any attention. Most of the time, I try and stay under the radar. Just stay off the main streets and stuff, you know, because a lot of people, they all think I'm nuts. They think I'm crazy. You know, everywhere I go, they don't even have to know my name. Right away, they see me, they think I'm crazy. So it is what it is, but I'm always watching. You know, and when I see something that doesn't add up, a lot of people won't say anything, but I myself, I will say something like, you see that over there? Something weird about that, man. You know, like, you got to kind of cater to the crowd, to the people you're with, you know, however you think they might be. You know, you change your accent a little bit, whatever, to, you know, so you can see eye to eye with them, so they can understand where you're coming from. But at the same time, you got to point things out when you see them. If you see, like I seen the other day, the 3 military tanks on the train, you know, people, of course, they're thinking I'm nuts when I'm telling them, but, you know, I pointed it out. I seen 3 black tanks on the train that said UN on the side. UN stands for United Nations. What would those tanks be doing here? I mean, what is their excuse for having those tanks here? You know, I don't know. Just something I'm putting out there. You know, a couple people said I'm crazy and that I belong in a mental hospital, but You know, I don't think those tanks should be here. There's no wars going on here. Why is there tanks? Why is there all these armored vehicles being transported? That's not the first time I've seen them, you know. I mean, there's no wars going on here. They're preparing for something. You know, don't be afraid. Don't fear. Because you got God on your side. Don't fear. The God of peace is always going to be with you, and He's always listening whenever you speak. So don't fear anybody, especially the government. Because in my eyes, the government is nothing more than a satanic organization. And anybody who works for the government, truthfully, they're powerless in God's eyes. When they die, they're going to hell. It's as simple as that. You know, I mean, I don't know, you might think a little differently. That's just my own opinion. I believe that the government is the devil's army. You don't need government. God is the government. You know, the law of man is corruption. It says that right in the Bible. So, it also says that the law is a curse. But then again, you know, a lot of people, everybody's got their opinions. You know, everybody's got their opinions. They got their own ways of looking at things. I myself, I believe the Bible. But yeah, I'm just putting it out there for anybody who's willing to listen, you know. Just pay attention, you know, and everything be cool. Alright. Hopefully I'll be seeing you guys around. You know, peace.